What if you could talk to someone from the distant past, someone from another time, another century, someone dead, probably a ghost? And what if you were a psychotherapist? I'm Joseph Covais, author of the Psychotherapy with Ghosts series, Quiet Room, Female Academy, and Bound by Fate. I live in northwestern Vermont, where I work as a psychotherapist, and I teach psychology classes. The largest part of my early life was spent as an antique dealer. In those days, I had ordinary eyesight. Blindness brought me into the psychology field, and that's how I find myself today as a lucky man with 3 jobs he loves. Let me tell you about the Psychotherapy with Ghosts novels. I started these after an eerie experience at my daughter's house in New Hampshire. She and her husband and her family live in a 200-year-old building. Very early one morning, I may have been asleep, I'm not sure, I became aware that someone had come into the room, had walked around the perimeter of the room, approached me, looked me square in the face, then straightened up, turned around, and walked out, and never made a single sound at all. Afterwards, on the way home, the thought grabbed me. What if I could speak to someone from the early 19th century? What if I could talk to them? What if I could not just talk to them, but interact with them in a therapeutic way? I mean, I would think that most ghosts probably need a psychotherapist anyway. The whole idea was compelling, and not just from the standpoint of an intellectual exercise, but it was very emotionally driven. I felt like I needed to write it down, and that's how I find myself here now as the author of these novels. Here's the idea. Imagine it's 1970. Following the suicide of a client, David, a disillusioned Manhattan psychotherapist, quits his practice, closes it down, and intends to start his life over again as an antique dealer. This is all against the wishes of his fiancée. But he goes ahead, he buys an abandoned house on a remote piece of property on the shore of Lake Champlain. David discovers one room in the house is haunted by the spirit of Almira, a lovely young woman who lived and died in that house in the 1840s. Before he knows it, David is up at night doing psychotherapy with Almira, trying to help her unravel her own troubled psychology and dilemma. But doing this raises questions for himself and his own haunted past. Over the course of the novels, he has to confront his own spiritually desolate life, cope with a jealous girlfriend, and somehow help Almira find a way to reconcile her fate with God. There's a secondary plot. Alternate chapters take place in 1840. Written in the style of a Gothic romance, these chapters describe the events which left Almira trapped between life and afterlife. These chapters take place at Lake Champlain, at Shelter Island off the Atlantic coast, and at the Albany Female Academy, which was an actual and prestigious school at the time. It's an early 19th century world of desperate love, populated by real historical persons. They believe in quasi-occult beliefs and practice pseudosciences like phrenology and mesmerism and animal magnetism. The novels are classified as psychological fiction and paranormal romance, and they are. They have all of the elements we might expect. Love story, 2 of them actually, spooky things going on in spooky places, in spooky old houses. But they also are concerned with deeper issues. They're highly researched, and they're grounded in facts. Anyone with an affinity for early 19th century Americana will love the details And any of us who feel a bit of nostalgia for the 1970s will feel right at home. I invite you to read the Psychotherapy with Ghosts novels and to contact me after you have. I'd love to hear from readers, whether it's by email or through Facebook or website. I look forward to it. Thank you, and I'll see you at the keyboard.